Hey kids, today I want to talk to you about your schema. Have you ever heard of schema before? You may be thinking, what is this crazy lady talking about? Well, let me tell you. First of all, here's what I need you to know. Your schema is different from my schema. I wonder what that could be. Your schema is different from your teacher's schema. Your schema is different from your friend's schema. Your schema is very unique. Now, let me tell you what it is. Schema is all the information, knowledge, experiences that's stored in your brain. Now, why do you think that your schema would be different from my schema? Well, you're right, because we have different things that we've experienced and read and seen and learned. So you know different things than what I do. Now, we may share some of the same schema, but overall, your schema is going to be different from mine, partly because I'm older, but that's beside the point. So today I'm going to teach you a chant about schema, but I want to talk to you about it just a little bit first. So your schema will always change. It's constantly changing and growing as you read, as you watch movies, as you learn in school, as you experience life, the places you go, the things you see and smell and touch. You're constantly getting new schema. So I like to think about it like this. I want you to do this with me. Can you drop things into your brain? Drop it in, drop it in, drop it in. When you read a book, you're dropping new information in. When you see a movie, you're dropping new information in, and our schema just keeps growing and growing and growing. Isn't that so cool? So that we're always learning new things and having more background knowledge. Now, you may be thinking, why is schema important? Let me tell you that too. Schema is important because it helps us understand books and stories in a completely new way. Because if I have information or background knowledge or some experiences about something similar to the character, I can make a connection to that character and I can understand them a little bit more. Or if I already have background information about an animal, I can then take that into what I learn in a nonfiction text and grow that schema for my knowledge of that animal. Let me give you an example. So for many, many years, I would read books about elephants, and that would give me some really good information. I learned my schema was growing and growing and growing about elephants. I even would see them on TV, maybe on like a National Geographic channel or some kind of a program where they would be telling you about elephants. So my schema grew from that, from the books, from the TV. Well, then one day I went to a zoo and I saw an elephant in person. And that gave me even more schema because then I was able to really see what they look like and smelt like. I didn't get to touch them, but I could imagine what they felt like too. So that brought my schema. It just grew it and grew it and grew it for animals because I had learned about them in school, read about them, saw them on TV, even saw them in person. Well, then this summer, last summer, 2 summers, whatever it was, I went on a vacation and I saw elephants in Africa in the wild. I'll show you a picture here. Like lots and lots and lots of elephants. So what do you think happened to my schema? That's right. It grew and it grew and it grew. And so what I once knew from a book began to grow as I learned more and experienced more and I saw more. So now my schema about elephants may be completely different from somebody who has only read about elephants in a book because I learned new information or saw how they acted and behaved in the wild. So that gave me more information about them. So as you grow and you learn and you read and you see, your schema just goes crazy wild and it helps you understand books and topics in a whole new way. Isn't that exciting? I think so too. So in order to remember what schema is all about, because you use schema a lot whenever you're making text to self connections, like trying to figure out how you can connect a book back to your life or what it makes you think of. Whenever you're making inferences and you're trying to figure out what's going on and what's happening without having it all in the text, your schema comes into big time play there. So let me teach you this chant about schema. It goes like this. I'm going to go through it once, and then you can do it with me because this is not a repeating chant. We do it all at the same time, but I'll also put the words up here. All right, here we go. Schema, schema, it's what I know. Schema, schema will always grow. Schema, schema, I get from books. Schema, schema, from where I look. Schema, schema, comes fast and slow. Schema, schema, from where I go. Schema, schema, is info in my brain. Schema, schema, I will obtain. Here's what I want to tell you about, because I said in there that schema comes fast and slow, because sometimes it does. Sometimes we get a lot of information really fast, or we have an experience, and that schema comes to us quickly. Sometimes it grows slowly over the years, like when I read books about elephants when I was little, and I eventually went to the zoo, and many, many years later I saw them in the wild. That schema grew slowly. So we can get schema really quickly, but it can also be a slow progression. And obtain just means I'm going to get it. I will get it. I'm going to get more and more and more. Okay. All right. So now I want you to try to do it with me. All right. Here we go. Schema, schema is what I know. Schema, schema will always grow. Schema, schema I get from books. Schema, schema from where I look. Schema, schema comes fast and slow. Schema, schema from where I go. Schema, schema is info in my brain. Schema, schema I will obtain. Oh, good job. I'm so proud of you, and I hope that your schema just grows and grows and grows like crazy, and you just keep dropping all that information from your books and your movies and your lessons and your experiences until you are the smartest person that ever lived.